Good morning. I'm Stampin' Dee, and this is Stampin' Thursday, and I've been looking forward to this Thursday because we're going to do an amazing fun fold card. It is a bay window, standalone fun fold card. So we're all ready to do that, and I just wanted to come on a minute and say hi. And I've got my rotate lock off and none of that, I hope, today. So thank you for being here with me. Thank you for watching, those of you who are watching live. And for those who are watching the YouTube, thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate it. I really, really do. And we are going to get right to it. So I'm going to put this up on the stand and make that as painless as I can for you. And we're going to start this fun fold card. Thanks for being here. All right. I think we're good. Let me get my computer up so I can make sure that you can see what I want you to see. It's not up yet. Oh, there it is. Nope, that's the wrong one. Oh my goodness gracious, why isn't it up yet? There you are. And I'm going to move my thing up just a little bit. I don't know why it's not up. I'm on the right channel. I got that on Stampin' Dee's doings. Okay, I see that you're watching. Well, it keeps trying, but it doesn't bring the video up. All right, you know what? So Kay, obviously you're watching, and I am hoping that you can hear me, because I am, for some reason, I'm not getting it on my video here. I'm not sure why. Well, we are not going to waste. I'm going to go one more place and see if it's showing there. Nope. No, hold on. One more minute. Oh, you know what? So this is broadcasting on my Facebook page. So that's all right. We're going to do this. It's broadcasting on my personal Facebook page, but that's okay. That's okay. As long as you can see it, that's all I care about. All right, we're going to get started. Here are our dimensions, and the card that we're going to make is like this. Here's the card we're going to make. It stands up, and when it does, it shows the scene and the sentiment. Isn't that beautiful? Who would not love seeing that? And then you write your little note to them on the back of the card. So we're going to get busy with this and make it. And the first thing that you need is a piece of base cardstock. This is going to be your base, the back piece. So I'm going to use pecan pie because I want it a little bit darker brown. And this is going to be cut at 5 3/8 by 4 1/4. So 5 3/8 by 4 1/4. And then we're going to score it at 3/4. So I'm going to score it right here at 3/4. Uh-oh. Move your cutting blade. You don't want to cut it. You want to score it right at 3/4 and 4 5/8, which is right here. So we're going to score it in those two places. Now, we're going to get our designer series paper, and this is what I decided I wanted to use. Isn't that beautiful? That comes out of the beautiful gallery designer series paper, and as you can see, I've used a lot out of this designer series paper. But beautiful gallery. It comes along with the gallery blooms. Part of the suite is gallery blooms. And not only do you get these beautiful flower dies, but you get a frame die as well. And these stamps, which we're also going to, oh no, we're not going to use that today. All right. So this is the designer series paper that we're going to use. And if we were going to make this card, let me see. If we were going to make this card, each little square is matted. And so this one, no, it's this one. If we were going to make this one, it tells you, well, no, let's go back to this one. There's two ways to do it. You can do it with just a solid background, and you can mat it or not. Or you can do it with a scenic background and use embossed paper. And that's what we're going to do. So we want to cut this piece as a scenic paper so that the whole scene shows. So it says on your instructions, if you want to create a scenic background, cut your designer series paper at 5 by 4 1/8. So I want to decide. So here's 5. And 4 1/8 is your height. So you want to cut your, let's do that first. So 4 1/8 is going to be right here. I'm going to cut a little bit off the top. Now, 4 1/8 is right here. That still is too much off the top. So I'm going to cut some more off the bottom. So 4 1/8. I don't want to cut that much off the bottom. So we'll go here. We'll cut part of the bowl off. And I'm going to keep that. Now, 4 1/8. I'm just working it to where I don't cut everything off my picture. All right, now we're going to do this at 5. So here's my 5. So I can take a little off of this side, and I'll keep that, and make my 5 here. All right, this is the whole piece of background. This is the whole thing. Now we're going to cut these two edges off. So they are 5/8. So first I'm going to cut 5/8 off of this end. This is the hardest part. So I cut 5/8 off of that end. And now I'm going to cut 5/8, 4/8, 5/8 off of this end. And I've got my centerpiece and my two sides right there. So that's how we're going to create our background. All right, so we're going to go ahead. Here is our base. And these are the flaps that will fold in. But I'm going to go ahead and put my base on here. Let me grab my somewhere up here. I have, let me look under my, yep, there it is. I knew I had my silicone mat somewhere up here. And that helps me get my, all right. Here we go. We're not through cutting, so I'm leaving my cutting mat here. All right, this is going to go right here, centered, right there. And then this one is going to go on this side. Isn't that going to be pretty? This one is going to go right here. Move it over just a little bit. There we go. And this one is going to go on the other side. So you can see why I picked the pecan pie, because of the bowl that the vases are in. It gave me a neutral color to use. There we go. Now we have our background already made. All right. So then our instructions tell us to cut 2 1 1/4 by 7 cardstocks. And that is going to be this piece right here. So we want to use the same cardstock. 1 1/4 by 7. So we're going to open our arm. Here is our 7. So we're going to go 1 1/8 on, and 1 1/8. And then these need to be 7 inches long. And we're going to have to score them. So 7. And then those are scored at 3/4. So we start from this end, come to the 3/4 mark, get my cutting blade out of the way, and score right there at 3/4. And then we're going to score at 2 1/2. So we're going to come to the 2 1/2. And I will put all of these measurements on my blog, so you don't have to scramble to write them down if you don't want to. This 4 1/2 is the next score. And then 6 1/4. And 6 1/4 is right in the middle of the hinge. All right, we need to do that with both of them. So again, I'm going to start at this end and score my 3/4 and my 2 1/2, my 4 1/2, and my 6 1/4. Right there. All right. Now we're still going to do some more cutting. Now we're going to cut all right, we're going to cut 1 1/8 by 1 5/8, and then we're going to cut 1 1/8 by 1 7/8. So, and we're going to emboss these. So I chose a lighter cardstock, crumb cake, And it's going to be 1 1/8 by 1 5/8 and 1 1/8 by 1 7/8. So I'm going to do my 1 1/8. I'm going to do it this way and emboss it first. So here's my, whoops, I'm mashing down too hard. Here's my 1 1/8. And I'm going to do 2 of them just to make sure. 1 1/8. Make sure I have enough. 1 1/8. I think that, yeah, it is. It's right there. I have it half on my glass mat, and that's the problem. All right, now I'm going to take these, and I'm going to use my Forever Plaid embossing folder. And I think I can get these in here and emboss them both at the same time. So let me do that real quick. All right. So now we're going to take these out. Isn't that pretty? I love this embossing folder. I love what it does. And you can do the embossed side or the debossed side where the ridges have been pressed in. Here, the ridges are pressed up. And we're going to use the embossed side. All right, and so we needed 2 5/8 by 4 1/8. So no, we need 4 1 1/8 by 1 5/8, and this is 1 1/8. So that now we do 1 5/8, and we need 4 of these. 1 1 5/8, 2. Let's see if I can get this a little steadier. 3, 4. 1 5/8. So now we have our 4 1 1/8 by 1 5/8 pieces. And now we need 2 1 1/8 by 1 7/8. So we've already got our 1 1/8 right here. So now we need 2 1 7/8 pieces. 1, 2. All right. The only other thing we need is a piece of Very Vanilla that I have already cut. This is for the back. It's 3 1/2 by 4. And that's for the back. So I'm going to move this away now. We've got our cutting done. So simple. Now, if you decide to go this route, where you mat and then designer series, these instructions are for that. These instructions are for that. So you've got both. You've got both. All right, here we go. So I'm going to go ahead, now I'm going to go ahead and put our pieces on here. This, let's see. Um, 1 1/8. And what were these? I'm thinking I put these two not long enough, well, not wide enough. 1 1/8. This was supposed to be 1 1/4. So this was supposed to be 1 1/4. I thought it didn't fit. So we're going to do 2. Here it is, 1 1/4 by 7. I don't know why I did 1/8. 1 1/4 by 7. And this is where we scored. 3/4. My glare is keeping me from, whoops. move my cutting blade. Okay. We score at 3/4. 2.5. So it'll only take a second to do this again. 4.5. And 6 1/4. Right in the middle. That one done. 3/4. 2.5. 4.5. And 6 1/4. Right there. All right. They weren't quite wide enough, and I realized that when I put the embossed piece up against it, because it should be matted a little bit. So here. So I 3/4. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I am not, this card is not hard. I promise. I didn't trim it down to 7. So I'll trim it from this end and I'll have my scoring right. I'll trim it from the end with the most spots. If you do it right, if you just pay attention to what you're doing instead of do what I'm doing, you won't have any problems. Now, these are the longer ones. Let's see. These are the shorter ones, and this is the longer one. So they're going to go like this. Your ones that are a little bit longer go in the middle. That one. And that one's a little bit longer. If you don't mix them all up like I just did, you won't. There we go. So we're going to get those glued down, and I'm going to use my Tombow. Since this is embossed, it's just easier to use the white glue and get them down. So you've got 4 end pieces like this. 1, 2, 4 end pieces. 1, 2, 3. It's these right here. 4 1 1/8 by 1 5/8. That's what these are. And then you have your 2 middle pieces, 1 1/8 by 1 7/8, and that's these 2. Oh, there went my. Let's see if I can get it to keep working. Not that it really matters, because it doesn't once you get it on there. It doesn't. But okay. All right, and so then if we fold these, let's see, yeah. We fold them all in, because they're going to go like that. this one, this one, this one, and this one. And that's our top and our bottom piece. So easy. All right. So now we're going to adhere it to the base. And as you can see, you have a flap on each side, and it's that flap that's, you're going to glue it underneath, right up at the top. So let me put glue on the back side of this one, and the back side of this one. See, it is so easy. And then I'm going to put it, the fold right there and up at the top. And the fold right here and up at the top. Make sure they're even with the top. And you want to hold it a minute. And see, it folds flat to a regular size card. Isn't that awesome? All right, hold that a minute, and then we're going to do the same thing here. You could also use tear and tape right here to make sure it stays on. So it's going to go right around that fold and folded and right to the bottom. We want those to stay. All right, we have made our card. Now, how easy is that? I mean, it really is not hard. I know I made it look hard because I mismeasured, but if you don't mismeasure, it is so easy. So then what you want to do is take your sentiment piece. It's going to go right back here on the back. And I'm going to stamp, I'm going to put this stamp on the front, I think. Let me see. You're in my heart and prayers. I'm going to put that on the front. And then this one, he heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. And that's from Psalm 147:3. And I got that from the Retired Shepherd's Care. So I love that. I love that scripture, and it's perfect for someone who has lost someone or who's going through a really difficult time. So I'm going to put that on the back, and I'm going to do it with my black memento. And I'll stamp it right here and leave room for the sentiment, or for me to write something at the bottom. And then we're going to put this on. Put this on the back. Here we go. And if you wanted to stamp something, let's see, like I did on this one, you can do that. I even cut out a piece and put it on because it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. And then on the front, I went ahead and took another piece of that paper, the Designer Series paper, the Beautiful Gallery paper, and I think I took this piece right here. Isn't it beautiful? But I cut a little bundle out. I fussy cut it. And I'm going to put it right there. And my sentiment, I'm going to do it on this piece. And it's the one that says, "You're in my heart and prayers." That could go for anything. It could go for illness. It could go for a death in the family. It could go through... It could go for anything. I'm going to put that, and then I'm going to cut around this so that it'll just sit right there. So I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to cut around this. So simple. And then it's going to come up This is a simple one. I'm going to go on up and get rid of that. This is a really easy one to do because there aren't many loops, and there we go. Close that up before I put my arm in it. All right, and I'm going to put that on with dimensionals. We're working on the front, so we can do that. Put a dimensional there, a dimensional right there, and it is going to go right here. You're in my heart and prayers. And then this, I think I'm just going to glue it. I want it to stay. If I put it, no, I'm just going to glue it. So I can see that that leaf and this leaf and maybe a little bit right there, and then this leaf are going to be glued down. And I'm going to move it that way a little bit. I don't think there's anything underneath. I think whoops. Okay, let's do this again. I'll glue it down. We should have it on. Yeah. There we go. That's it. That is it, my friends. Now, if you wanted to put embellishments on it or ribbon, you could do that. I'm not going to on this one, but you certainly could. I think there's plenty there, and anybody receiving this in the mail. Speaking of the mail, here's our envelope, and I grabbed a piece that had the color of the vase, and I'm just going to take my envelope and create I'm going to do this right along the edge. What did I do with my silicone mat? Now, right along the very edges of my flap. And then I'm going to put, now I need to decide, I think I want the lighter side. So I'm going to put this right up against the fold. Turn it over. Of course, you've always got another side of your designer series paper. But for this one, I needed that brown. And I'm just going to cut around the flap of my envelope, and voila, now I have an envelope that matches my card. So here we have it. There we have it. We're done. We're done with it. And it took a little longer than I thought because I didn't measure right. But if you measure right, then you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. It's not hard. You saw how fast it went. Here's this one. We use this. You're in my heart and prayers. Feel better soon. I get well. Using designer series paper from Thoughtful Journey. So there's that. There's that. I actually stamped this image on the envelope for that one. There's this one. Also used the gallery paper. Isn't that pretty? And just stamped an image, hoping the loss you feel right now will be eased by wonderful memories. You're in my heart and prayers one goes really well. And this is actually the top of this paper, although it really doesn't look like it. And then there's this one that I also embossed. I used die cuts from the label cuts from Storybook Friends, for the front of this, a little bit of ribbon, some more designer series paper, scenic paper, and on the back, just stamped an image on the back. So here we have these. I did an envelope for that one. All right. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm sorry that this went out on the wrong channel, but it is my Facebook channel. And thank you for watching. I'll be putting this over on YouTube here shortly. And I hope you'll give it a try. Go to YouTube and get these directions, these cutting instructions. There'll also be pictures of each of these cards. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for being so patient with me. Oh my goodness. Kay, thanks for being on. Love you. Bye-bye.